Hello everyone, welcome back to Train Simulator 2021. This is KermMartian, back with Train Simulator. This is episode 9 of my Train Simulator 2021 series. For the last, I guess this is the third week in a row that I'm doing a regular Saturday stream at sometime in the early afternoon Eastern time, which is very pleasant. It's nice to be doing these regularly. This is also KermMartian Live number 46. Hard to believe that I've done 45 of these live streams now. They are definitely the more fun way to play. So today we are on the New York to New Haven line, starting at New York's Penn Station. Good morning, engineer. Today you're in charge of Northeast Regional Train 190, a northbound train along the Northeast Corridor to Boston South Station. Board your passengers here at Penn Station, then stop at Stamford and New Haven. Good luck. So let us look outside, get our doors open. Doors are open, trust me, even though we can't see them. There we go. And there's a New Jersey train wiggling off there. Let's get back in our locomotive. A few things we'll get ourselves into forward. No AWS alert because this is not a British train. Our brakes are in suppression. Let's get some headlights going. Another New Jersey train. Oh, maybe that's the same one. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Headlights. Very good. We are in an ACS 64, a 6,400 horsepower electric locomotive. Timeliness bonus, we have been cleared to depart from Penn Station. So, let's go. Release those brakes. Brakes are released. And off we go. 30-mile-an-hour limit as we depart Penn Station. Beck Adam, what's up? Good to have you with us today. We are getting right into it. So this train, Northeast Regional 190, goes all the way from Washington, D.C. to Boston South Station. We are only taking it as far as New Haven, which is prototypical. There would be one crew that takes it all the way from New York to New Haven and then gets off and hands it off to another crew at New Haven. We have a clean roll at 7 miles an hour. Do a quick little brake check. Put on some service brakes. Feel them kick in. Very good. Clear those brakes and keep going. So we are heading east out of Penn Station. We're going to go under the East River. And then come out in Queens. We've got a nice straight line up into the East River tubes. Got to watch that speed. We're aiming for professionalism today, as always, on the Northeast Corridor. Ooh, it is dark in this tunnel. Let's wait for our whole train to get inside the 60-mile-an-hour limit, and then we can get going. As you can see from the HUD here, the interface at the bottom of the screen, we kind of fall down a slope towards the middle of this tunnel, and then as we get towards the center of the river, it bottoms out and starts going up again. So the speed is going to be going up quite enthusiastically as we go down that slope. Keep an eye out for signals. I have to remember that at the end of this tunnel, there are some abrupt speed limit changes as we go through Sunnyside Yard. Green over red, clear. Speeding. What? I just said the slope. I looked at the signal, and we started speeding. I have some dynamic brakes on right now, as you can see. Negative 23% means dynamics, but no air brakes. We're just reaching the bottom of the slope here. Speed's going up again. Didn't put my dynamics on quickly enough. Wheel slip. That is not great. Alright, now we're bottoming out here, and we will start going up the slope again. That wheel slip was I engaged my brakes a little too enthusiastically. So rather than actually stopping the train, we exceeded the coefficient of friction and they started slipping, static friction. Now we're going up this hill, so speed up a bit. A slightly ignominious start, but hopefully we can make it up from here. I'm real tempted to start over again, but I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Green over red, clear. Almost out of the tunnel. $45-mile-an-hour limit coming up. Welcome to Queens, New York. Even though this route is not that old, it is already inaccurate because a bunch of buildings have been built off to the left over there that are not at all represented. A whole bunch of tall buildings. We are in ACS 64, number 620, as you may have just seen. I'm going to keep the speed up as we roll through Sunnyside. We're going to be going through the Harold Interlocking. It is a huge interlocking that connects the Long Island Railroad, Amtrak, New Jersey Transit, Penn Station, Amtrak's Northeast Corridor, and the Long Island Railroad's Long Island routes. Put on some dynamics and get down for the 45 that's coming up. We also have a signal up ahead. Color position lights, which are a little bit far away. We have a clear. Very good. Now we are well under that 45. So how is everyone doing today? Hope you all are having a pleasant Saturday. Spring is nearly springing in the northern hemisphere, although it's, it's taking a moment. We're going to take a high-speed switch over here to the left. Glad to hear it, Beck Adam. What are you up to today? Working on any fun projects, or what are you doing? Nice. Which projects? Ah, cool, cool. BOS, the Beck operating system. If somehow this is the first video of mine you've ever watched, which seems unlikely, but it could be, many of my viewers come from Chematech, a community of people who make cool projects for computers, embedded hardware, and especially graphing calculators. So BOS is a calculator shell. And is it a shell or an operating system? I believe it's a shell, right? TypeScript native compiler for Pebble watches. That's cool. You should tell Geek Boy about that. He has, I think, at least a couple of Pebble watches, one of which was his, one of which he inherited from Eames. It is an entire OS. Oh, yes, I did know that. There is an unfortunate pattern in the calculator community of calling things that are actually shells operating systems. So it's always refreshing when an OS is actually an OS. We are climbing up, or about to be climbing up, the approach to the Hellgate Bridge, my very favorite bridge on, I'd say, the Northeast Corridor, but almost anywhere that trains cross over. Or in fact, anywhere at all. For some reason, we are wrong railing. British style, we are on the left-hand side rather than on the right-hand side. So presumably, we're going to get switched to the correct track eventually. You can see we're losing a little speed going up this hill. We've got our sky legs up, our pantograph touching the overhead catenary, sparking every once in a while. Very cool, Beck Adam. Very cool. Take a quick screenshot here and get our speed up. So this train would, I believe, normally stop at New Rochelle early on this Saturday morning, train 190. But today our first stop is going to be Stamford. And we are nearing the Hellgate Bridge up there. Very nice. Love the Hellgate. Well, apparently we're down at street level, so that's exciting. There we go. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Screenshot. My headcanon for today's train trip is that I am operating this train from New York to New Haven, and then I get to clock out and hop on a northbound Vermonter at New Haven, going to Essex Junction, Vermont. We're going to be doing a little speeding, maybe. Nope, we got down 50 miles an hour in time. I'm going to release those brakes, but keep the dynamics on because we're going to be going down a hill. Off the approach the other way. I think we can let ourselves roll down this hill now. Let gravity do the work for a bit. Now, on the Northeast Corridor, we have in-cab signaling access, which is telling us that we have clear and a speed limit of 50 miles an hour, which is really quite straightforward indeed. So I have to keep my eye on those things there. Currently over Randall's Island, a small island between the Bronx, Manhattan, and Queens. Has a bunch of sports fields, a highway. I once worked at a company as an intern that holds a company-wide party on this island every year. We can speed up a little bit. We want to get to Stamford on time. We're currently estimated to be there a minute early. I believe this bridge marks a crossing over a little river. Indeed it does. Small river. We are about to start speeding. Let's not. Let us put on our dynamics so we can shed a little bit of speed into electricity back into the catenary. So if you're not familiar with dynamic brakes, instead of using friction to stop the train, you turn the motors into generators, basically, that generate electricity from the motion of the wheels, feed that back into the overhead wires, and because you are, making them be generators, that, because of magnetism and electricity and various forces that I won't go into now, you slow the train down. You turn that momentum into electricity. Alright, we can ease off those dynamics now that we are at the bottom of the hill. And we can start speeding up again. One of the things that's tricky about the Northeast Corridor is that the speed limits change constantly. It has a lot of twists and turns, and the speed limits are constantly going up and down to accommodate the straight sections and curvy sections. I'm given to understand that the speed limits as represented in Train Simulator are no longer even close to accurate, but that is what we have, so that is what we will obey. We don't want to lose any more points. We can get ready to speed up to 70, but as you can see, then we'll be going back down to 60 and back down to 55 shortly thereafter. I believe the yard we just went through is called Oak Point. Although I could be confusing my train yards. I'm going to be taking my first longish distance Amtrak trip in, gosh, I think it's almost 2 years, in the next few weeks, which is going to be fun. Got to get back down for that 60. We're not going to do it. We're going to speed. Bye, points. Luckily, not too many points. 9 points. But we're already down for the 55. Got a signal coming up. Our little access console in front of us says that's going to be a clear signal. And indeed it is. Color position signal both emulates a semaphore, so up and down means clear, and diagonal means restricting, and horizontal means stop, as well as color, so, you know, green, amber, red. Oh, come on. This train is very twitchy about wheel slip. I tried to full throttle it, and it said, no, 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 wheel slip. Which is probably realistic. Probably realistic, but I'm not used to Train Simulator being quite so realistic. Not going to be a perfect score today. I'm just going to have to resign myself to that. $70 limit, cab clear. Most of the signals along this route, instead of showing a regular clear, that is a solid green, will show a cab clear, flashing green, which means you're clear to go the speed indicated on your access console in the cab. More points for speeding. What? Wheel slip? I don't know what that wheel slip was about. That seemed a little bit twitchy. I'm going to reward that wheel slip with some flyby. Let's see what we have today. We got our locomotive and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 coaches, which I believe is prototypical. Wow, we've got a lot of people on today. 7 of you joining for today's New York to New Haven adventure, operating train 190 from New York's Penn Station to New Haven, Connecticut. NHP to NHV. NYP, excuse me, to NHV. Access is warning us that we have a speed limit coming up. Unless that was, I think that was driver alertness. I think that was driver alertness. In my British trains, that would be an AWS alert. But we are not in Britain, so we do not have AWS. Alright, so we have a 60 and then a 70, then a signal, and then that 45 limit there is going to be crossing the Pelham Bay Bridge, which is followed by a 100 mile an hour speed limit. Actually, I think there's a 30 for the bridge itself. Nope, just a 45, and then the 100 mile an hour limit. A little bit of flange squeal as we round this curve here. New York to New Haven was one of the earlier Train Simulator routes released. I think it was released in Train Simulator 2016, which was paradoxically released in the year 2015, which was the first Train Simulator version that I purchased. And you can see that it is quite light on scenery compared to some more recent routes, and not quite as fancy, but it does the trick. We have a clear there, point and call. .45 limit coming up. Let's put a little bit of brakes on for that. Ooh, those brakes apply quickly. This right-of-way here that has now 2 tracks, an engineer friend of mine told me this used to have 6 tracks. And I consider that a huge shame that we've lost 2/3 of the capacity on a route like this. That is really tragic for our infrastructure. But you all have heard me give that rant far too many times. And I'm sure y'all have some rant thereof of your own. Maybe Amtrak Joe will help us. Give us some more rail infrastructure back. Crossing the Pelham Bay Bridge at a sedate 45 miles an hour. After which we will firewall our throttle to 100 miles an hour. The fastest speed limit on this entire route of quote-unquote high-speed electric trains. We've got a signal coming up at the edge of this interlocking. Well, actually, would that be an interlocking? Probably not. I think that's just protecting the bridge. Nope, wheel slip again. Yep, see? This train loves wheel slipping. I wonder how prototypical that is. I have to find somebody to ask. My first intro to my videos was an Acela train speeding along this section of the Northeast Corridor, blowing its horn as it passed. Currently, I replaced that with a CPR-R1 train, CPR-R1 itself, pulling some Amfleets somewhere they don't belong, a New Jersey line going through a grade crossing, where if you're watching this video later on YouTube, you will see that. Now we can full throttle. 75 miles an hour, heading towards 100. These trains, I think, can do 125 or more. It's not written down here anywhere. Oh, that was a missing piece of geometry. Did you see that? Access still says clear, 100 miles an hour. We are really moving now. But we have a 45 coming up, so I'm going to have to put on some dynamics and put on some air brakes. Come down to that 45. Where that 45 is, I believe, is where Metro North merges into the Northeast Corridor, the New Haven line. And then after that, we will have New Rochelle. I'll ease off the dynamics here and just use my air brakes, which is probably the opposite of what I should be doing. Yeah, that building off to the right there is in New Rochelle. Fun fact, New Rochelle was the epicenter of COVID-19 in New York just about a year ago. The first cases showed up there. And everyone said, oh, we can contain it to New Rochelle. We'll just deploy the National Guard. It'll be fine. And then COVID said, no, no, no. I will be everywhere. And it was. Use our dynamics to shed this last 2.5 miles an hour. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. We have a signal up ahead. Access claims it's clear. Let's hope it actually is. It's a little bit hard to see these signals. And it is. And here comes from the left there, the Metro North right-of-way. Metro North and Amtrak and some freight railroads share this right-of-way from New Rochelle all the way to New Haven, our destination for today. As I was mentioning before I started recording, I have 2 videos that are pending that I haven't uploaded. I usually use Windows Movie Maker to edit my videos. It was not succeeding at the one. There we go, flashing green. That's a cab clear. That's a cab clear at the end of the platform there. That means, there we go. Now we are in access territory. So, I don't know if that's accurate or not. I don't think so. But it's claiming that until we get to New Rochelle, we don't actually have working access? I'm skeptical. We have an approach now, yellow over amber. Excuse me, amber over green. And we are crossing over. That's usually what approach means. Let's see if I can remember the approach rules. I believe it is until your whole train has passed the switch or 500 feet, whichever is longer. Remain at 45 miles an hour. And then when you clear, you can resume your full speed. Anyway, so Windows Movie Maker was not succeeding at making an episode out of episode 7, KermMartian Live number 44. So I tried DaVinci Resolve, which I've had on my computer for a while, but it does not work properly with Windows 7. So now I am trying HitFilm Express. And I got stuck on some noise in last week's episode. So, in summary, episodes due to be posted but haven't. So there will be 3 that I have to post once I'm done with today's stream. And that'll happen eventually. Time is rather short, but, you know, I do like keeping those posted. As you know, the real fun for me is just doing this as kind of a relaxation thing. We have a clear up ahead. And if I can share my train-based relaxation with more people, all the better. I believe this is Harrison that we're going through. I can't quite read that. There we go. Larchmont. Where did I get Harrison from? Oh, you know what? You know what? That's really funny. I once knew a person named Harrison who lived in Larchmont. That is definitely not the first time I've done that. 80 miles an hour. Clear. The Northeast Regional, which is what this train is Amtrak's busiest and most profitable train. Unlike much of the national network, it turns an actual profit, at least during normal non-COVID times. But as we know, that is not the point of public infrastructure. The point of public infrastructure is to help people, not to turn a profit. Amtrak has always ridden that awkward line between being a public service, like the post office, and being forced to earn a profit, like a private company. There is at least one bill currently being proposed in Congress to permanently fund Amtrak and stop worrying about this dumb idea of trying to make itself profitable. Now we are going through Mamaroneck. So what else is new with you folks? I feel like I'm monologuing here. It's more fun when I can respond to you all. So calculator projects, that's cool. Like to have calculator projects happening. I've been missing the Wednesday video chat that Chematech has had going for, it's got to be a decade now, called Have Calc Will Program. Maybe one day soon I'll be able to get back to that. What are we getting warned about? That 70 mile an hour limit. I combined some dynamics and some air brakes there, which did the trick. You can hear the air brakes releasing. I'm glad we had that warning there because I did not see that limit coming up on the HUD. I have a few grudge matches in mind. There's at least 2 routes that I've done recently on streams that I'm going to do quote-unquote grudge matches for in the next whenever, when I have more time, where I record them. Maybe I'll stream them, maybe not, but the point will not be streaming. The point will just be recording them and doing it professionally, not bantering, not talking, other than, calling out signals and speed limits, where I think I can get a perfect score, and my goal is to get a perfect score. When the goal is to drive the trains instead of having a fun stream. Which is both. Currently at a 70-mile-an-hour limit. Got to be aware of that 50 coming up soon. This is Kerm PhD. What up, JC Squires? This is the very same. Are you a Chemetecian who has wandered in here from elsewhere on the internet, or do you know me from... It's got to be Chemetech, because where else would you get Kerm PhD from? Got down nicely for that 50-mile-an-hour limit. Just barely under. That signal up ahead is a flashing green. That's a cab clear. That is prototypical. In fact, if you're driving on I-95, that highway off to the left, when you're going the other way, there's a few points where you can see the signals on the Northeast corridor here. And normally there are a couple of three reds with a flashing green cab clear at the side. JCSQ6. Oh, yes, I know JCSQ6. You've been around for a little while, haven't you? Quite a bit of a little while. Although I feel like I haven't seen that name for a minute. Gotta love that noise of trains on rail joints going clink, 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 clink. Yep, that's the one. I'm gonna test myself. I'm gonna claim this is Rye. I'm gonna claim the station is Rye. Let us see. Where's the sign? Rye. Very good. Almost ready for a 70-mile-an-hour limit. So while the Northeast corridor continues all the way from Washington, D.C. through Philadelphia to... That was a warning because I haven't touched the controls in a while. To New York, to New Haven, to Providence, to Boston. This section in Train Simulator only extends from New York to New Haven. There was a person who was working on a section from New Haven all the way to Boston many years ago. I don't think he ever finished it, unfortunately. There's also a separate route in Train Simulator that goes from New York to Philadelphia. If you leave New York going south instead of leave New York going north. And they also recently released Washington, D.C. to Baltimore. I think only that section, which is a surprisingly short section, which means that Baltimore to Philadelphia is still missing. In theory, you could glue those all together into one long route if the missing piece was there, but Train Simulator is not very good for that. There is also, however, there's other trains too. So if you're going from New York City to New Haven, you might instead take Metro North, which we saw joined just before New Rochelle, and there would be Metro North trains on this right-of-way with us in prototypical running, although I don't know if Train Simulator has any in this route. And then there's other trains like Path if you want to get from Newark, New Jersey. Sorry, I'm thinking and reading and operating at the same time. If you want to get from, say, Newark, New Jersey to New York City, you could take the train. You could take Amtrak, which is, goes through relatively infrequently. You could take New Jersey Transit, which goes through much more frequently, or you could take the PATH train, the Port Authority Trans-Hudson, which is much more frequent. It's more like a subway than heavy rail, commuter or long-distance rail. So if you were going from, say, I don't know, there's a place outside of Newark called Harrison, New Jersey, you would probably take the PATH train instead of Amtrak. Speeding. Actually, was I? I'm kind of skeptical about that. TI Freak, yes, that is why I didn't answer your Discord call. Sorry. I have been streaming, playing some trains. Recent weeks I've been doing this at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Today I did it at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. TI Freak is as I've said in other videos, other streams, an excellent Chematech member who's been around for... Actually, I think he's the first Chematech member who's not me. He does a lot of streaming of various games. You should definitely join his streams, although I saw on Twitter that he was injured today, unfortunately, and it sounds like he won't be streaming for a week or two, which is very sad to hear. JCSQ6, wow, 4 years, damn. I'm vaguely impressed that your name still rang a bell. It's funny how many random Chematechians' names look familiar, even though I can't place exactly when they've been around Chematech. So thank you for joining. It's good to have you here, and we probably have never talked face-to-face in any capacity before. So... Good to meet you. Semi face-to-face, at least one way face-to-face. By the way, my audio hasn't started making a weird humming noise again, right? Let me know if it does, and I will try to poke at the thing. Something with my microphone, every once in a while it likes making a really annoying, really irritating humming noise. Let's see how quickly we can get down to 50 miles an hour. Not fast enough, so we're going to use some air brakes. Almost at Stamford, just 5 miles to go. There we go. We can release our air brakes now. Stick with just the dynamics. This is a sharp turn here, hence the 50 mile an hour limit. Can release those dynamics. Yeah, you know, one of the things I pride myself about at Chematech is we have a long history of gently guiding people who are relatively new to online communities, and you know, have some growing up and maturing to do. You know, no judgment. Everybody's been there. I was too. When I first started in the calculator community, I boasted about unrealistic claims for a project I was working on where I didn't quite have the technical knowledge at all to achieve those claims yet. So, you know, I think we've gently guided quite a few people to be really amazing, constructive, very cool, and helpful people. So, please don't take it personally. Hey, Eames, what's up? I mean, yes, I say gently. You know, sometimes that gentleness has been rather less gentle. I think relatively few instances have required something really blunt. There have been a few. I won't name names, but there was an infamous person who claimed to be able to overclock their calculator to truly ridiculous levels, and persisted even with some gentle calling out of, you know, we understand your enthusiasm, but we also know that that's not possible. But, you know, I think mostly we have a really good bunch. Somebody posted a topic on Chematech relatively recently saying, I love Chematech because it's a good place to be, friendly people. You know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but because it's not me, you know. It's all the people who have built the culture at Chematech, and I'm really proud of that. There is so much drama in the calculator world. Oh my gosh. Every community of any size that I've ever been a part of, like a niche community, has some kind of incredible drama. Like, unfailingly, humans create drama. It's really amazing. I mean, even in the past few weeks, I've seen drama in various places. The calculator community is less dramatic than it used to be. When there were more active, quote-unquote, competing groups like Chematech, Omnimagia, Code Walrus, TI Planet, TI News, all these different places, there was definitely more drama. I think there were a few personalities and individuals who drove more drama than the rest. I certainly own up to the fact that it took me some maturing to learn to not engage, you know, in some of this drama, and to just sort of step back and let it be. But, now that we have fewer active sites, unfortunately, for better and worse, the drama has really stepped back. 2 miles to Stamford, and you can see we have a bunch of speed limits here guiding us in. Almost looks like we'll be crossing over in a mile to another track. We're going to be stopping at platform 2. Mateo is so smart. He knows so much. He's definitely one of our more abrasive members, and I don't think he'd be insulted to hear me say that. He has relatively little patience for suffering fools. And it does take all types. We definitely have some people who are much more patient with beginners. And we have some people who are less patient with beginners. So it all works together. Hayes was the best group. You troll. Oh man, Hayes Games was unique in that I think nobody other than Hayes Games defended Hayes Games, where there's definitely been, so I'm a little confused here, by the way. I have a 94% throttle and we're not gaining any speed, which worries me slightly. What happens if I lay off my throttle? Nothing. That's strange. That is very strange. We're going into a 45 mile an hour limit. Just need to drop 0.2 miles per hour. Hayes Games was a troll group that upset a lot of people. Flashing green, cab clear. Stamford track 2. Why am I getting... There we go. It wanted me to go into service braking? That was weird. I don't understand that. So even though I had a clear and I was under the speed limit, it wanted me to go into braking in order to be able to cancel the alert that I had, which I believe is only the case if you're getting a penalty application, or rather you're in danger of getting a penalty application because the system thinks that you're not going to slow down fast enough. That was strange. Unless it just does that for stations. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the next station stop in a few moments will be Stamford, Connecticut. You can exit at any door at Stamford, Connecticut, along the right side of today's train. Why are we losing speed? Because I have service braking on. Please gather up all your belongings. Thank you for riding Amtrak today, and we hope to see you again soon. We are here very early. We needed to be here at 7:45, and it is 7:37. That's what we get for sticking close to the speed limits. Apparently, the schedule has a ton of padding in it, which I don't believe is accurate. I've never spent more than about a minute at Stamford on an actual train. So, oh well. I don't think. However, there was the fun day, and I hope this doesn't happen today, where I accidentally triggered my parking brake, and we had to spend quite a while trying to figure out how to turn off the parking brake on an ACS 64 locomotive. There's no reason not to do this perfectly when we have so much extra time. Just crawl to the end of the platform here. Throw on a little bit of brake. Come to a nice, smooth stop. Beautiful. Doors open. Ladies and gentlemen, folks, people, everyone, welcome to Stamford, Connecticut. Ladies and gentlemen, is too ingrained in my lexicon. I have gotten very used to using folks as a form of address in email salutations and Slack and stuff, but my vocal tick for ladies and gentlemen is apparently still there, especially making train announcements. Let's take some screenshot action here at Stamford. So, now that I'm not actively trying to drive a train, what else can we banter about? What's new? 6 people. Hello, 6 people. Glad to see some of you are on Twitch and some of you are on YouTube. That's always nice to see. I do simul stream using Restreamio to both Twitch and YouTube. Twitch has the advantage of, I think, the delay being a lot less than on YouTube, but I definitely have much more of a following on YouTube than I have on Twitch. I think I have like, I don't know, 5 followers on Twitch, whereas I have 3.3 thousand on YouTube. All right, you can hear a little background noise of, I don't know, Stamford, Connecticut, as we sit here waiting for clearance to New Haven. We would also be stopping at Bridgeport. I don't know why we're not stopping at Bridgeport either. I sound pretty young. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. I'm surprised that I sound young. At least relative to Chematech, I am not young relative to our membership. Let's see. I started Chematech 21 years ago, and I was not 0 years old. So I guess you can extrapolate that I'm more than 21 years old. You do remember that, right? So I had a project in college. I won't say how many years ago now, because that'll pinpoint my age a little bit too closely. Thanks, Eames. Thanks, Eames. I am an old man. Yeah, I had a project in college called SIMS, SIMMS. I don't remember what it stood for. Damn, that's embarrassing. Anyway, SIMS was a project before neural networks were really a thing, when natural language processing was relatively immature relative to where it is today. And where Markov chain bots, it was basically a Markov chain bot. If you've been on Chematech and you've seen the bot we called NikiBot, it was very similar to that, where it would read sentences and it would form connections between words. So come up with probabilities of starting with any single word, how you would finish the sentence. And it would have like a average distribution of sentence length. I think it would try to like pick, I forget how it would respond to things, how it would know what word to start with given a sentence said to it. I finally wiped it off my whiteboard that I have hanging up in my room, but for many, many, many years I had an item on my to-do list to restart the Sims project with everything I know now in the intervening time since I first built Sims in college. Trying to do some actual natural language processing and learning from my long quantities of saved chat logs to try to make it talk like me, even though obviously we're very, 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 very far from general AI and being able to teach, something AI to do intelligent things given text, automatically responding to text without hard coding rules. But, maybe one day. I have written books. I started a forum. I earned a PhD and a couple of masters and a bachelor's. Currently the CEO of a startup that has been around itself for a few years, quite a few years now. Other noteworthy things. I am not just a virtual train engineer, I am a qualified operator at a train and trolley museum, operating real trains. Any other feathers in my hat? Nah, those are the major points. I don't know. I don't like to boast. I've done some stuff. I have fun. I do things. Projects are fun. Computer science. I have a PhD in computer science. My specialty is distributed systems. I like to describe that as large groups of computers working together to remember lots of things or solve big problems. My specialty in distributed systems, even more granularly, was distributed storage systems using high-performance networking systems to create high-performance distributed storage systems. I have diverged from that a little bit with my startup, which creates digital twins of the real world using algorithmic techniques, especially machine learning, for gaming, simulation, and architecture. A PhD in software engineering, I don't know of that particularly being a thing. The two main things you might get a PhD in related to my field would be computer science, which is, more on the software and theory side, although I did a very applied PhD, meaning that it was much more about coming up with a cool theory and then building a big piece of software that does that than, just writing theory, which is what my co-founder, Elf Prince 13, did. He also studied distributed systems, but from a much more mathematical and theoretical perspective. You can also get a PhD in computer engineering, which is a lot more like electrical engineering, but for, hardware and computer hardware. Software engineering doesn't tend to quite have PhD so much. That would be more like a computer science PhD. In general, software engineering, once you know good software engineering practices and you have a reasonable data structures and theory background, the only thing you can really add is learning more languages, learning more libraries, or learning more theory. And if you learn more theory, you're delving towards computer science. Getting back in the cab here, I imagine that I've stood out here on the platform, waiting for it to be time to depart. It is almost time to go. We have our cab clear, 60-mile-an-hour limit, timeliness bonus 334, and off we go. Release those brakes, blow our horn, and take off. Oh, expletive. Is my parking brake on again? All right, we have a little bit of speed. It looks like we're rolling. All right, so the solution was turning it off and back on again. Although this feels a little sluggish. I guess it's not. I think it's just because we're pulling a heavy train. Uh-oh. Train simulator has minimized, which is a bad sign. Is it going to crash? Is it going to crash? No, it's not. You told me. By now I've fixed enough computers and electronics that I really should know that turning it off and back on again is the right solution. Thank you, Ames. I should have listened to you at the beginning. Or DNS. Yep. All right, our next stop is New Haven. This is the Super Express Northeast Regional 190. This area is usually filled with many more trains. There's usually a whole pile of Metro North trains off to the side, but we do not have any today. Into the 45. Into the 50. From riding trains. You want me to go in suppression? All right, we'll go in suppression. All right, you don't want me to go in suppression. Fair enough. All right, we're back on the move. Once again, I'm going to have to cut out that little kerfuffle from the final video. It's fun struggling to find the controls for Train Simulator, but, got to keep it moving. In Pokemon Go, there is a gym just around this little curve here, which I know from riding this train back and forth so much. Riding the train is a good opportunity to try to drop Pokemon into gyms quickly as you pass. I had a Pokemon sitting in a gym somewhere like at the top of the mountain, a mountain in Utah for, I think, months when I took the California Zephyr from California, San Francisco, to Chicago about 2 years ago. Got a cab clear here. Actually, I should adjust my view here so we can see the cab indication, 50 miles an hour. Clear. Alrighty. Into a 70 mile an hour zone. 37.5 miles to New Haven. I'm going to speed us up a little bit. I've been playing a lot of British trains lately, as you know if you've attended these videos. But Rosemary requested that we do some American trains today, which is a good idea. I haven't done them as much, and it's a good preview for when American trains are on the menu once again. Very much looking forward to things going back to normal-ish and being able to travel once again, although I don't want us to do that prematurely. I don't want people to get carried away with saying, I'm sick of pandemic, I'm going to go and do things, even if they are not vaccinated or doing so unsafely without masks. So wear your mask. Almost at 70 miles an hour. Gotta keep an eye on that. Ooh, I think I ended up inside the bridge just now. Do we blow the horn? Of course we blow the horn. Kind of sounds like the bell and the... Well, not the horn, but the bell sort of comes from nowhere, like it's in the camera. So that's what it is. You just don't want to hear me butchering British pronunciation. Now I understand. Now I understand, Rosemary. That's what the issue is. If I can get Loughborough, and one day I'll remember to stay Peterborough. Not Peterborough. Wait, no, Peterborough, not Peterborough. You know, that's I'm happy being at that level. Let's call that like beginner intermediate British English pronunciation. I'm sorry you missed my utter butchering of Welsh place names last week. Live anyway. Peterborough. Gloucestershire. Alright, that's enough trolling for today. How tempting would it be to just uncouple our coaches and go racing off by ourselves? Not going to do it, though. I know it's Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire. I did pronounce the cheese double Gloucester instead of double Gloucester as a child. I'm sorry. Young Kerm apologizes. No, I want to go to all the places, even if they have complicated names. That means we can't go to Wales at all. I'm not in favor of this plan whatsoever. Not in favor. What if I only bring you to places that don't have a British counterpart? So we can't go to, like, Manchester, New Hampshire, or Manchester, Vermont, for that matter. We can't go to Cambridge, Massachusetts. Can't go to New York. I mean, New York. Come on. Nice, Noah K. Noah's been building a kit for making a super cool modified TI-84 plus CE with like clicky, you know, Cherry MX style keyboard keys. We're about to start speeding. And you know, backlighting on the keys and all kinds of cool stuff. I am going to be purchasing one of those kits, which I'm very excited about. Unfortunately, the TI-84 plus CE I had bought on eBay for the main board for it and screen got lost in the mail, which I'm extraordinarily frustrated about. This is South Norwalk. I know that by the parking structure, including Arch to the left here. South Norwalk also has a Pokemon Go gym. Oh, 45-mile-an-hour limit. We're going to speed. Oh boy. Yep, we're doing a little speeding. Yep, a little bit of speeding. Not too bad. Could have been worse. We have a very tight turn here that we do not want to go through at speed. And then we cross a bridge. Mail can be really tough when you have somebody who's actively sabotaging it and who it is tough to fire because politics. So that's a thing. That's cool. Politics has fun. And we're speeding because I'm out of the cab. That always happens. At least it was only like half a mile an hour. Sometimes I wish Train Simulator was just a little bit more forgiving about those. Yep. Yep, I'm not going to mince words about that. Ah, coffee. Coffee makes all things better. Almost at 70 miles an hour, and coming up we have a 40. Northeast corridor is just up and down. I guess we should shed some speed. Let's use our dynamics. The advantage of the dynamic brakes is they're a little bit gentler. And they're more environmentally friendly because instead of just turning speed into heat and thus wasting it, we turn speed back into electricity. And then the other trains that are rumbling along get the electricity. Huzzah. Connecticut is basically a series of valleys with rivers in them, and then like hills and mountains in between those. So every once in a while we cross a bridge because we're at the bottom of one of the valleys. By mountains I mean like hills, but you know. Crossing a bridge, crossing a bridge. Can I wiggle about while I'm... Yes, I can. Many a time have I been in a car on this bridge and looked over at the right-of-way there and seeing a train going across. So that's what we're going to take a screenshot of today. Let's see if I can get this right. Yes, very nice. Beautiful. Yeah. I'll call Vermont's Green Mountains actual mountains. I mean, they're tall. They're not like the, Rockies, which are real mountains. But they're what we have. And the Adirondack Mountains. I think the Adirondacks are actually my favorite to look at. Watching a sunset across Lake Champlain, the sun setting behind the Adirondack Mountains is chef's kiss. A+. A+. Tennessee doesn't have A. Oh, okay, fine. Never mind. You're right. I always think of like the Tennessee, Kentucky, Carolinas area as being unmountainous, but I suppose that's not truly accurate. You have the Appalachians extending down that way, for one. Keep wanting to call it AWS, that driver alerter. Speeding a little bit. TIL. I honestly don't know too much about Kentucky, and I'm not going to share the facts that I do know. Mostly they involve alcohol and politics. I know almost nothing about Tennessee. I have been to Tennessee once. Once? Yeah, I think just once. I went to Nashville for an entrepreneurial event, pitch competition sort of thing. Interesting. I almost ended up in Huntsville for another event last March. I was scheduled to go to an event, and up until like a week before, a few days, I think, until the event, they kept insisting, no, we're definitely going to have this event. You should book an airplane. We're totally going to have this event. Meanwhile, everything else was getting canceled for COVID. And I was thinking to myself, how are they possibly going to have this event, this conference, when everyone's quarantining far away from each other? And of course, it did not happen. So I have not been to Huntsville. "24.5 miles to New Haven. Winding our way up the Northeast Corridor. Cab clear, 70 miles an hour. Not much for me to do other than keep my eyes open for signals and hazards and so on." You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save just in case. You never know. There's got to be a reason why I didn't get a star of any sort on this route. Our speed is creeping up a little bit, so I'm going to lay off the throttle. Did I know you when you lived in the States, Eames, or have you always, in my knowing of you, been the place where you are, the country that you're in now? I'm not saying it in case you want to keep that a secret. Okay, got it. We can go a little bit faster. We're going to be not that early to New Haven. 2.5 minutes. Not a secret. Eames is a knucklehead. The land of politeness and Tim Hortons, which I hear is no longer good? Question mark. Almost at 70 miles an hour, so we're going to want to lay off that throttle just a bit as we roll through a station that is escaping me. Let's see if we can find the sign. There's one. Fairfield. I bet Train Simulator doesn't have Fairfield Metro? I don't remember when the Fairfield Metro station was actually open, but it might have been after Train Simulator made this route. Not really that polite. It's probably the U.S.'s fault for contaminating the politeness with impoliteness. Oil, interesting. That makes sense. That seems like a reasonable thing to blame. I mean, isn't that kind of also blaming us because, you know, we have fun with oil and oil companies and so on? Yeah, the US. There we go. Yep. Hey, a train! I feel like we haven't seen a train for, like, ever. Fairfield Metro is indeed in Train Simulator. Very good. This is Fairfield Metro. And this building that we're just passing now is the Bigelow Tea Company. Fun things you learn. I'm sorry to hear that, Eames. That's not ideal. In other news, as I've said, totally off topic, in other streams, this is the one route, I think it's the only one that I've operated on a laptop while riding the real train down the same route. And one day I'll succeed in getting a proper recording of that. Probably, I don't know, putting my phone against the window and recording the view outside while I, you know, sit on the train with my laptop and look outside and, you know, operate the train. This is a fun thing to do. The other fun thing to do is not go into the 30-mile-an-hour zone at 68 miles an hour, so we're not going to do that. We are nearing Bridgeport, Connecticut. Well, yes, you know, I was just thinking that exact same thing, Rosemary, asking somebody traveling with me to assist. Rosemary has sent me some excellent videos of what it's like to ride British trains, which has, among other things, helped with the announcements that I've made in my Train Simulator streams. And having somebody like Rosemary to assist with that would be perfect. Thank you. Thank you for the implicit volunteering. I don't know why we're being slowed to 30 miles an hour so soon, but I guess that's what we're doing. I guess we are going into this curve. I thought it was further away. Too bad as in you're not actually volunteering. I will not have your assistance. There should be a baseball field off to our left here. There it is over there. We'll stand trackside and watch our train go by. Keep an eye on the speed as we do so. You can spot the Bridgeport station from quite a ways away because it has this power pole straddling the station. Well, I guess we're definitely not stopping at Bridgeport because we are in the middle. We are bypassing Bridgeport. So we really are going straight to New Haven, 15 miles away. 16 miles away, 17 miles away. Getting ahead of myself. Let's throttle up. But not throttle up too much because we can only go 45 miles an hour. Whoa, that was bumpy. What was that? Little gap in the tracks there. Let's see, if I remember correctly, our stations are Stratford, Milford, West Haven, and New Haven. I'm probably missing a station or two. We'll see. I don't think so, though. I don't think I am. Got another cab clear here. I should keep my eye on our console here. 45 miles an hour. And almost in a 60. 60 it is. And we're entering a 70, so we can accelerate even faster. And we're going to be quite early to New Haven, which is fine. Thanks, teams. Thank you for joining. Have fun picking up mail, and see you soon. Happy weekend. Almost at that 70 limit. I will ease off the throttle just a bit. And all the way. Perfect. I can't wait until it is summer once again, and I can actually ride trains in the summer just like this. Train 190 at 6:55 a.m. is early for sure. But who knows? Maybe one day I'll be in an early schedule. One day, that's the dream. That is the unrealistic dream. Got a 60-mile-an-hour limit coming up. No need to rush because we're ahead of schedule. Ah, welcome back, Beck. Good to have you back. What's up? Have you been simultaneously working and watching, or is my stream just too engaging and you haven't been able to multitask? In which case I'll have to try to be a little bit more boring and less engaging. We are down for that 60. In fact, a little bit too soon. Whoa, didn't mean to go all the way up in the air. But all right. I'm pretty sure that was Stratford we just went through. Ah, nice, nice. That's good multitasking. I've said many times, and I'm sure I'll say many times again, that streaming of trains is great background for doing other things. It's how I got started watching streams, and I hope other people do the same. We are under that 60. Perfect. Now we have a 40 to get down for, and then I love Train Simulator. What the heck speed limit is that? Is it 60? Is it 70? Is it 65? Is it 75? I have no idea. Train Simulator has fun. Hey Moon, what's up? Good to see you. It's been ages since I've been on the Minecraft server where Moon is a member. I have been shirking my duties as one of the builders of Arcadia. I don't even know. Arcadia 9, Arcadia 10, whatever Arcadia we're on now. What has been up, Moon? How's life? $60. Apparently the answer is 60. That was weird. Arcadia, what? 9,000? It's not over 9,000. 60 miles an hour. Speed it up. And avoid wheel slipping. That is key. And we have a 70 coming up, so lots of speed to be gained. Speed and power. Power and speed. Almost is that 60 mile an hour limit. Let's not go over. I've gotten a little bit better with not losing points in the latter half of this after we left Stamford. If only I had done as well when we first started. Oh no! Sorry to hear that, Moon. I hope you both are COVID negative and that you're able to get a vaccine soon. There's the 70 limit. Up we go. Power and speed, speed and power. Ah. So Restreamio claims I'm streaming at 1536 by 864. No wonder Eames was complaining. I forgot to fix that for today. I should be streaming at 1080p, 1920 by 1080. Huh. Interesting. I've got to fix that for next time. Nice, JCSQ6. Glad to hear. Do you know which one you'll be getting? Pfizer, very good. I was initially a little bit skeptical about the Johnson & Johnson one, but at this point I very much believe that anybody and everybody should get whatever is available to them. All that matters is everyone being vaccinated. That is how it will stop. That is how it will go away, and that is how we will not make new mutations. This is Milford, station of Milford. Oh, interesting. I didn't realize there was an age limit, although I know New York City is going to be making it, I guess, 16 and over. And I know they've been doing some studies on children to see how children, on people below 18 or below 21 or something, to see how effective the vaccines are. But I didn't realize 17-year-olds couldn't get the Johnson & Johnson. Now I know. $70 miles an hour again. Next, we'll be passing through West Haven, and then our final stop at New Haven in 8.25 miles. I'm going to save again. Very good. Just in case, you never know. I was going to say, I know in New York City, they're only going to let people 16 and over get vaccinated at all. Son of a gun. For now, I don't know when and if that's going to change. That's a lot of streaming, Noah. That's a lot to juggle. So that means you're watching my stream and streaming. Beck is watching my stream and streaming. I'm only watching my own stream. I'm not watching either of your streams. But, Beck, are you also watching Noah's stream while you stream? And mine? If not, you clearly should be. Excellent. It's like the streaming multiverse of everybody watching everyone else's stream. Ah, coffee. A network of streaming. There we go. There we go. Train simulator. Why are you telling me there was a signal there? There was clearly not a signal there. This is a signal. This thing that's flashing green, that's a signal. That's a cab clear signal. Nice little signal box there. Sure would be cool if you could buy a signal box and live in it and look at trains all day. I wonder how you could do that. Back to 7 viewers. Good to have you all here. It's a pleasure to stream for you. Gotta hit that driver alerter, I am here and still awake button. Always a good thing. .4 miles to go until New Haven. This is pleasant. This is peaceful, just driving along, operating along in the summer. Leaves on the trees. I'm looking out my window in the real world, and there are buds on the trees, but no leaves yet. They're getting there. They are getting there. I mean, that person was clearly very silly. They should have done so. Hopefully there will be more signal boxes for sale in Brighton. Or near Brighton. 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 Right, you omit the T? Brighton? Brighton? It's like Bri''O''N. Things that English, as far as I know, British English and Vermonters have in common. Omitting the T's. They live in Vermont. Vermont. Not Vermont. The Green Mountains. Mountains. I'm speeding. Thinking about mountains. It was Cornwall? I could have sworn it was like almost... Is Cornwall almost Brighton? I don't know. My brain has fun. Going through West Haven, Connecticut. Our final station to pass before New Haven. They actually did quite a nice job of reproducing it in Train Simulator. I'm impressed. I don't mean you, I mean people in general. Isn't that the rule, like dropping T's? I didn't know that was a personal thing. I thought everyone did that. If you start doing the New Englander thing of saying across instead of across, then I might have a little mockery. But I wouldn't judge you just for omitting T's. That would be a silly thing to judge for. Glutteral stop. Now I know. One and a half miles to New Haven, and we are getting our speed down. In fact, there's the station on our HUD. We are down for this 50-mile-an-hour limit. Soon we'll be going into this little stone-lined cut to approach New Haven the rest of the way. I think at some point I'm supposed to turn my bell on for traversing the yard, but I'm not positive on that. Folks, thank you for riding Amtrak today. In just a few moments, we will be stopping at New Haven. If New Haven is your stop, please gather up your belongings and make your way to a door. All doors will open at New Haven. That's a 30 limit hiding in there. I'm suppressing. We will have a brief stop at New Haven for a crew change. If you'd like to step out of the train for a moment, you can, but we will be leaving almost immediately. What do you want? What do you want from me? Emergency? Really? Really? For what? For what? That's nonsense. That is utter nonsense. I have no idea what that was about. Really? You won't let me pull it out of emergency either? Oh boy. Silly train. Silly train has fun. Oh, you wanted me to go all the way to suppression. So the manual says that you can get to suppression with shift apostrophe, which now works. It wasn't working. Forward. Really? No stars for me. Why is train doing this? That's our independent brake. Where is... Why not let us... Yes, I want to be in forwards. Very good. But why not let us pull the throttle out of emergency? I don't understand. Suppression. Neutral. Oh boy. Train simulator has fun. We are in restricting, which is fine. Restricting is a reasonable thing to be doing. No penalty. I'm going to turn that bell off for now. Do I have to hold down acknowledge for a while? What is the deal here? Apparently that was the answer. All right. Brakes off. Pull into the station. That was fun. Who knows? Train simulator has fun. Pretty sure it was acting like I went through a signal of danger, and I'm pretty confident I didn't do that because I think that's an automatic fail of a scenario. It got confused. It got confused, but now it's happy again. Folks, we apologize for the brief delay there. We are now pulling into platform 10. If you'd like to reach the main waiting area, find the stairs in the center of the platform, go down under the tracks, and off to our left. If you are getting a connecting service like the Shore Line East or the Hartford Line, you can get those on other platforms. This train's having way too much fun. We're going to pull up to that red signal at the end of the platform, and that will be the end of our scenario. Put a little bit of brake on just so the train doesn't get sad. Three more cars to fit on the platform. I hope we're going to be able to do that. We're so early here, there's no reason not to crawl in at 3.9 miles an hour. 1.5 cars to fit. I don't think they're all going to fit. That's exciting. That's what we're going to do. All right. Folks, this is New Haven. New Haven is the stop. Doors are open. People are getting on and off. These are the stairs that I was talking about that go down to the underground tunnel, which is just gravel. Cool, cool. Ooh, those apartment buildings extend. Oh, that's interesting. How do we reuse buildings? We put the tops of the buildings above the ground because it's actually a whole building under the ground. That's fun. Train simulator is fun. Got it. So we don't actually have to make buildings of different heights. We just sink them under the ground. I feel like Geopipe could learn from this clever technique. That's fun. Lots of tracks in the New Haven yard. We came in here. There's Amtrak repair shops over here. They refuel diesels on this track here. They usually lay up trains and store them here. City downtown services, 6th Avenue East 125th Street. I don't think so. If you stand here in the real world, you can usually get some nice photographs of a variety of Amtrak diesels and sometimes electric locomotives waiting on these 4 tracks here. surprisingly realistic. Surprisingly so. Let's see, where are the tracks where they lay up? Metro North trains over here. Very good. Anyway, let's get back to our train. So, ACS 64, number 620, served us mostly well today, other than, going into parking occasionally and, having fun. But it wouldn't be Train Simulator without some fun. I should probably take this train into neutral, put it into full suppression, which it doesn't want to go into. There we go. And leave this for our next engineer. We just have to wait for 8:37:50 or so, I think. Maybe even a little longer. So I guess I'll do my outro sort of stuff now. It's nice to do an American route again. It's been a while. I've done a lot of British trains lately. I really would like to see if somebody has strung together New Haven all the way to Philadelphia, because I think that would be a very fun video to do, operating a train all the way from Philadelphia to New Haven or vice versa. The in-game me is going to get off here, finish his shift, and hop on the Vermonter when it comes through at 1:30 p.m. Let's see. Train 54, I believe. So, let's see. That gives me 5 hours. So maybe I will, I don't know, go into New Haven. There's a great breakfast place to have some tasty breakfast. Or maybe I'll visit a local museum to stop by and say hello. Always fun when humans just spawn randomly. As I mentioned, I'll be posting this video and the other missing videos, the one from last week and the week before, on YouTube. I've been trying to do these every Saturday. I'm almost positive that next Saturday I will not be able to do a stream. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not going to work for me. But I will post on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, you will have seen notifications of when I'm going to stream, at least a little bit ahead of time. Twitter.com/KermMartian, all one word, K-E-R-M, Martian, same as my YouTube and Twitch, and literally every other username I ever make. Always fun to do trains. We'll see whether, by popular demand, I'm back in the US or on a British route. I also recently added the South London line to my repertoire, my collection. Part of my goal is to be able to operate from London to Hartford. There's a fan-made route that goes to Hartford in the UK, not Hartford, Connecticut, which also exists, but is spelled differently, Hartford. So we will see if I'm able to get that working. I needed the South London line for some of the components for that route, so we'll see if I'm able to load it now, and if I can, that might be a future stream. It is 8:38 a.m. We have safely delivered our passengers to New Haven's Union Station. We got our timeliness bonus, a total of 836 points, which is not perfect. Well done. You have completed the scenario. Let's see how you did. I think that's a silver star. I'll give that a thumbs up now. 0 XP gained for some reason. I think we got our silver star there. Let's go back to the careers just to double check. Career. Northeast Regional. We got our silver star. So, an exciting early morning trip up the Northeast Corridor from New York City to New Haven, Connecticut. Thank you all for joining. It's a pleasure, as always. Hope to see you again in the next stream or the next video. Please do all the YouTube things. Among other things, comments on what I should do in future streams would be greatly appreciated. Routes you can recommend, or even scenarios. You know, there's the built-in scenarios that I always do, the career scenarios mostly. But there are workshop scenarios as well that I could try. So, once again, thank you all. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Be well. Bye.